We welcome in Jeff Paterson, our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver. He's been out at UBC covering practices this week. But we'll start with the Olympic game. Jeff, how are the nerves?
What? You don't want to talk about the high-intensity skates that are taking place out at Father David Bauer all week? Come on.
We're going to get to that. Don't worry. We're going to get to that.
Shame on you, Matt. Clearly the biggest hockey story in town and across this country, the fact that the 32nd place Vancouver Canucks have reassembled after their Olympic break. But there is some news that we can get to on that front. Fingernails do grow back, right? Yeah,
reportedly,
yeah. I lost mine the other day, the quarterfinal, and I got nothing left here. It's incredible, guys. Honestly, I mean, we all do this for a living, but I have forgotten what it's like to be so highly invested in high leverage, high stakes hockey. We just haven't seen it. You got to go back to the playoffs here a couple of years ago for the Canucks, and even that opening rounds of the playoffs. But this season has been such a tire fire that games haven't meant a single thing, and there's been nothing at stake. And so even from this distance halfway around the world, just to sit in my living room and consume this has been incredible. It's kind of been everything that we hoped it would be. Connor McDavid is insane. We already knew this, and he has taken his game to a completely different planet. And man, it's fun to watch, and it's fun to have him on our side for a change here.
Yeah.
So, just marvel, and you just hope that he's got one left in him here to bring it on home. So I don't care what it looks like. I'm prepared now. They can fall behind. It can be nerve-wracking. They just need one more ugly victory, and all will be forgiven. About stylistic points, it's the name of the game is, did you win? And the answer is, somehow, some way, they've found a way to get it done.
Maybe we're more attuned to it because we've been watching Canucks hockey all season long, but I'm amazed that we're still amazed at how good best on best hockey is. Like I'm amazed that we still have wonderment at how much better this hockey is than what we see at the NHL level, which is supposed to be the best of the best, right?
And I get, it came at a cost for Kevin Fiala. I understand that. I feel terrible for him. I feel terrible for the Los Angeles Kings. But how can anybody sit and watch this and think that this isn't good for the fans, for the sport, for the game globally? We need best on best. And it kind of feels like we're now into a run where, the wrongs of the past are going to be made right here. And I hope, I tweeted earlier in the tournament, I can't wait to watch Macklin Celebrini in the next 5 Olympic games, sort of tongue in cheek, but honestly, doing the things that he's done here in his first look at this competition, and to think that 20 years from now, it's conceivable that he could be the Sidney Crosby of his time and sort of be the old man. It's just, we love the underdog stories, but ultimately you want to see the best players rise up, and Canada's had its work cut out for it. Canada knows it's going to get every other team's best game. That special teams can play a pivotal role. A goaltender can stand on his head and be the difference maker. And we've seen some of that, and yet Canada has found a way to persevere here. So it's just been an absolute blast, and not ready for it to end.
I have a little bit of a different take in terms of the quality of this tournament, best on best. And, you asked, Blake, why weren't we doing this? It's because when best on best shows up the NHL, it's an ego blow for Gary and the owners. But I didn't think the games against Finland or the Czech Republic were classics. Incredible drama and finishes, but they weren't exactly pretty hockey games. Good thing we had that quarterfinal day, guys, with the 3 games going to overtime, because I think the men's tournament had disappointed a little to that point. Switzerland and Finland was outstanding entertainment, but that's hardly best on best. I think you got to look at that Swedish-USA game, and even that didn't have a ton of goals into it. So, yeah, I think as Canadians, we're remembering the tight games and the comebacks and the close finishes here, but has anybody seen a game yet that resembles 2010 Canada versus USA? Because I sure haven't.
Well, we haven't seen the gold medal game yet, so give it
Fair.
time. But also,
Yes.
the Czechia game the other day, I thought was incredible entertainment.
Yeah, that was great.
And terrific drama and enough goals for me. You're right. We've seen a couple of these 2-1 games. This one today had 5 ultimately. But look, if you're Finland, you're not going to trade chances with Canada. You know that. You're not going to race up and down the ice. That's not in the Finnish DNA. Then they get a 2-goal lead, and of course, they're going to try and park the bus. It blew up in their face. But part of that was that just raised the stakes for Connor McDavid and ultimately Nathan MacKinnon and the best players on the planet. And I don't think McKinnon's anywhere close to 100%. I think he's, by his own standards and by most other people's judgment, has had a little bit of an underwhelming tournament where McDavid has just taken it to that next level, but chips are down, final 2 minutes, who draws the penalty, and then ultimately who scores the winning goal? It's Nathan MacKinnon. So big time, big player steps up in that moment. I mean, to me, that's sort of what I'm looking for in best on best. Again, it's not going to be an all-star game. It's not going to be a track meet. And one thing we know is that coaches can impact the way teams defend and slow games down. And that makes it just that much more of a challenge for the top players to find their way. And so what McDavid's doing, what Macklin Celebrini is doing is just absolutely mind-boggling. And really, tactically, I thought late in this game, and I wouldn't have expected this to have been a combination, Sam Bennett took the bad penalty. Brad Marchand been in the lineup, hasn't been terribly effective. And we all wondered a little bit, ultimately, what role would Tom Wilson play in all of this? John Cooper throws the three of those guys together in the third period. I thought they had a couple of exceptional shifts, wearing down the Finnish defense, spending their shifts for the most part in the offensive zone. And so, again, John Cooper, it is wild, guys, to think that this guy has 2 Stanley Cups. He's got a 4 Nations. He's now in a gold medal game and doesn't have a Jack Adams award, which I don't think he's going to lose a lot of sleep over, and he might get one this year for the job he's doing in Tampa Bay. But it just kind of makes you think the criteria some years for the coach of the year in the National Hockey League, it's always the good news story. It's a guy that brought his team from the outside to squeeze into the playoffs. But sometime, just the excellence, sheer excellence that John Cooper has guided his team for, a decade and a half now, ultimately has never served up a Coach of the Year award. So I do kind of chuckle at that.
He feels a little like Phil Jackson. Like, he doesn't feel like the tactical guru, but he just feels like he gets, especially the elite guys, he gets them to go. And that's a skill in and of itself, I think, for
Yeah, look, having a feel for the game is a massive skill for any coach. And he's shown it at the NHL level, but then this assembled talent, some of the best teams ever put together, and he just has the knack. And again, I love the way that he's juiced that McKinnon or McDavid and Celebrini, in those offensive zone faceoffs. Yeah, put Nathan MacKinnon out there. Why wouldn't you want the 3 leading scorers in the National Hockey League, or 3 of the leading scorers? They're there at your disposal. Throw the fear of God into your opponents, and he's done that in the right spots. And there have been some other guys that I think we're still waiting on, and there's one game for them to rise up. But again, this speaks to the depth and the excellence of the Canadian program. And we're always going to quibble with some of the decisions around the fringes about guys that are there and guys that were snubbed. Whatever the case, Canada is now 1 win away from winning a gold medal. And at that point, all the arguments about who they took will be irrelevant if they can get to the top of the podium and strike gold.
And Jeff, how about the goal scorers today? Because it has not been a great Olympics for Canada, and particularly not for British Columbia. Not a single medalist from our province to date. Now that is going to change because Canada is now guaranteed a medal in men's hockey. But Wes Van from Sam Reinhart, the first goal. Aldergrove, Shea Theodore, the second goal. Boy, BC needed this.
Yeah, can we lay claim to Nathan MacKinnon? Does he have any ties to BC? Then, 3 of the goal scorers.
We may get a goal tomorrow. Reese Howden in the ski cross. He's the heavy favorite, but it's been a really bad games for BC in particular, and not a great one for Canada.
Yeah, and I was reminded, too, that Sam Reinhart didn't make a lot of noise at 4 Nations either. And this guy is clearly one of the best goal scorers in the National Hockey League. He should be on the team, have more of an impact. And I think he played a minute and a half of the first period, and some of that special teams time, or maybe they didn't have a power play in the first period. So it was 5-on-5. But yeah, I had to feel good for him, obviously, to get a goal that got us on the board and gave Canada some life. And once you're within 1, I think at that point, the climb to the top of the mountain seemed a lot more manageable. And then Shea Theodore coming through to tie the game. So good on the BC guys there. But yeah, it's strange. Like, I don't know why Sam Reinhart hasn't been able to have the same impact that he does in the National Hockey League, but it's clearly been the case. So it was nice to see him cash in there. And then you look at other guys. Suzuki scored the big goal the other day. I thought he was fairly quiet in this one. Mitch Marner gets the overtime winner. Again, you can't expect them to be heroes every game out, but I thought Marner was fairly quiet against Finland. Bo Horvat felt bad for him. 2 seconds after the faceoff of the power play, and Mikko Rantanen puts it in the back of the net. But Bo was put in a tough spot as a left shot guy, taking a faceoff on his weak side. And at this level, like, every little thing matters. And the Finns were able to pick him apart. And so that came into play there after the Sam Bennett penalty. Honestly, guys, and I had this thought the other day, and then I watched Quinn Hughes score the overtime winner for the U.S. Cale Makar's been fine. And I know that they pointed out some of the plays that he made in the first period of this hockey game. Like, he's trying to do things, but he is such a difference maker at the NHL level. And maybe he's the focus of every opponent that faces Canada. He probably should be. I just feel like there's another level. And so
I thought he was better today. Today.
And that's
he
what I'm saying.
Better
This isn't me throwing darts at Cale Makar. It's just guys that I expected to tilt games in Canada's favor. I don't think we've seen that from him. The fact that there's one more game to go, maybe that's the opportunity, the biggest stage of all, because we know that he's capable of it. And now there have been moments in his game, but I just one of the things when we talked about John Cooper, one of the things that surprised me is he's juiced the top line. But why wouldn't you go for the super ultra turbo and put Cale Makar out there with that trio up front and just throw something that your opponent simply cannot match? And really all they can do is hope to survive. And we really haven't seen that an awful lot. So that's one thing that has surprised me, I guess, a little bit from the coaching staff, is that in some moments, offensive zone faceoffs, why wouldn't you just get Cale Makar out there with that super trio and see if they can't go to town?
And let me not short shrift Surrey's Jen Gardner, who gets a silver for the Canadian women's hockey team. But yes, no individual medals from British Columbia as of yet. Okay, Jeff, let's move on to the Vancouver Canucks, because scary scene from practice on Wednesday with Filip Heedle. You were in the building. Describe what you saw with regards to Heedle and having to leave.
Yeah, and, remember the migraines that kept him out of the game in Vegas before the break. So the fact that he was back on the ice when they reassembled on Tuesday, he's in a red non-contact jersey, but he got through Tuesday and he was back on the ice Wednesday again in red. And I thought, well, that's a good sign that he's able to skate for 2 days in a row at the end of practice. And they do this an awful lot. They went to a mini game where they put 2 nets on the sideboards in one of the offensive zones, basically go 2-on-2 with goaltenders. And it's pretty frantic. And guys are shooting from all over the place. And obviously, even though it's 2-on-2, there isn't a ton of room out there. Filip Heedle was parked off to the side of the net. And puck came to Brock Besser. Besser one-timed it. And I think it went off a skate or a stick and off the glass. But Heedle was parked at the side of the net. The nets are right up against the board. There's no room behind the net. And just one of those bang, bang off the glass and off his face. And he dropped immediately. And the rink that they're skating on at UBC, the viewing deck is up above. And so myself, Dan Murphy, Jay Janauer, Ben Kuzma, we were right there. Like, we could not have had a better vantage point of this. And Heedle dropped to one knee as he's going down, takes his helmet off, and he's, holding the side of his face. And you're just thinking, come on, like, this can't have happened to this guy. Like, it could have been anybody. And it was Filip Heedle taking a puck. Yes, it hit the glass, but it was such a quick ricochet. I don't think the glass slowed it down at all. And he was able to get up under his own power as the training staff got out on the ice to kind of help him off the ice, and they whisked him away into one of the locker rooms, and that was the last we saw of him. Even afterwards, Adam Foote was asking guys, like, he saw that we had a better look at it than he did. He was at ice level and it happened so quickly. I just don't think so he was asking us, like, what did you guys see? Like, how did it all go down? But he did say, and, he met with us about 15 minutes after this happened, and he said that he's going for x-rays, which, it tells me that there was some real concern right away. And so, not reporting anything here, but it didn't look like it hit the visor. Like it looked like it got just under the visor and sort of in that cheekbone area. So we shall see. But for a guy that just cannot catch a break all season long and has worked his way back from yet another injury, now he's sidelined here. We'll see where it goes with a week or less than a week now before the resumption of the NHL schedule.
And even like something like that could cause a concussion. The recoil from reacting to that could affect his whiplash issues. I mean, it's just, you're right. Like, why this guy of all the guys? And it does make you wonder, Jeff, like, at what point does he or the team just say, you know what, take the rest of the season off?
Yeah, and look, I've sort of floated this on RinkWide before that, like, I get that he's a competitor, he's an athlete, there's financial aspect to all of this with a year left beyond this one on his contract, but more than anything, he just wanted to prove to himself that all the time off and the work done and the specialists that he had seen, he got the green light to return before the Olympic break. But I wondered, like, wouldn't 5 or 6 or 10 or however many games let him know that, okay, yeah, I've been able to return to the National Hockey League, but I'm going to take myself out of harm's way and now really sort of do everything in my power to stay healthy and be ready for next season. These games mean nothing to the Vancouver Canucks the rest of the way. And, you know, if he had played 6 games and the Tom Wilson hit was it for his season, and he goes into the summertime with all sorts of uncertainty about, can I ever play again? He's come back, he's played. Now, understandably, not terribly effective either. And I think that's part of the story here, that he's looked tentative and I'm talking about these games from mid-January up until the migraine set in. You know, there hasn't been a point. There just hasn't been a whole lot with the puck for Filip Heedle. There have been a few moments where I've noticed his speed again on zone entries and those types of things. But yeah, like I don't think he needs to, like, even if he gets through all of this and gets the clearance again, like, I don't know that he needs to play a whole lot more the rest of this season, and would still have the final year on his contract and could come to training camp and give it a shot from square one and see where it goes from there. So, yeah, I am going to be curious to see if we see Filip Chytil again, and if so, how often down the stretch here.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, Jeff. Sometimes you have to save them from themselves, and I think that is the dynamic at play now with Filip Chytil and the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, Canucks practicing today, practicing through the weekend. Jeff will have coverage. You'll join us on Monday. Thank you for this, sir. Enjoy your weekend. And bright and early Sunday, okay?
Yeah, no, I'm ready for it. I'm a fairly early riser, so this one I'm not as offended as some people about the start time for the gold medal game. And I will say this, that the Canucks skating Friday, Saturday, I think they're taking Sunday off. At least that was the plan, to go 2 days on, a day off, 2 more days, another day off. And then I'm going to be interested to see how they reintegrate all the guys that are overseas and will be making their way back here. Like Filip Hronek played an absolute ton for Czechia. Adam Foote talked earlier in the week about being a little concerned. Now, Hronek's tournament ended in the quarterfinal, so he's going to get some days of rest. But I am curious to see guys like Hronek and EP40, how many practices do they get before the Canucks start playing again on Wednesday? So I don't expect that we would see any of the Olympians, even the ones that get back on North American soil here soon. I don't think we would see them before Monday practice at the very earliest at Rogers Arena.
Yeah, and if he wants to sit Hronek for Wednesday's game, I'm okay with that too. Thank you, Jeff. Till Monday.
All right, guys. Go Canada, go.